Hello, everyone, and welcome to another That Game Company Sky Q&A. I'm Senior Community Manager Robert Wing, and joining me today is Senior Producer Elena Nikora and Director of Online Experience Tim Nixon. Today, we're going to be answering some of the questions you submitted using the hashtag ThatSkyGame2021. Before we get to your questions, however, I have a question of my own. How are you two doing today?
Hi, Robert, and thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here and very grateful for the opportunity to go and talk about this year with the players.
Tim?
Yeah, thanks, Rob. It's awesome to be here and to get to chat with the players. We've had a really busy year. Lots of exciting stuff has happened, and we're looking forward to an even more exciting 2022. So yeah, let's get into it.
Unfortunately, before we get to 2022, we got to answer some of these 2021 questions, but we are excited to share more. For folks who may have missed the context on the hashtag and what we're doing here today, so a few weeks ago, we went ahead and got on Twitter and we posted the hashtag ThatSkyGame2021 as an open invitation for players to share the questions they have about Sky in 2021. We wanted to make sure that we answered some of these questions that we know are kind of constant hot topics that people constantly discuss that maybe we haven't necessarily had a chance to provide answers to just yet. So without further ado, we're going to get into answering the first of these questions that players submitted. So question number one, how do you decide prices for event items? Tim, this seems like a great question for you.
Sure. So over the last year, we've spent a lot of time improving the events and expanding them out from being purely a sales opportunity. That's really how they started, as like a link to Valentine's Day or a real world event like Halloween. We would throw in a couple of holiday-themed cosmetics that players could buy. And ultimately, we found that was a bit exclusionary. We wanted the events to not just be about sales. We wanted the events to be something which all players could participate in. And so there are a couple of things that we did there to expand the events and make them more inclusive. The first one was to create items that players could acquire for candles and for hearts, and even making some lower priced IAP items as well. So things like the orange, which was one of our first experiments for last year's Days of Fortune, for $1. And the idea was to make sure that everybody could feel like they could participate in the event. So that's the structure or framework, I suppose, we start with now when we're looking at an event. And the whole picture of an event is, what are we going to have that's going to cost candles? What are we going to have that's going to cost hearts? Cheap IAP, and then a more expensive IAP. And for those expensive IAPs, we're very choosy. You've probably noticed that we'll only really release one in that like $20 price range every 3 to 6 months. And we have a pretty high bar for making sure that it's an item which isn't just useful to you as a way to customize your character, but it's some way for you to create entertainment or create connection or be useful for your friends. So the lantern, for example, lighting dark places for the whole crew, or the tea set, one of my favorites, where you get to sit down and have a little ceremony with a friend, or the umbrella, where you're able to shelter your friends from the rain. And so that's our bar really for that that top price tier. Then for all the other items, what we'll really do is look at the established price points that we've had for items of a similar type. So if we have a new cape that's coming into the game through an event, then we'll look at all the other capes that we've got in the game, and we'll sort of look at how valuable it looks relative to our established price points, and then we'll make a call on that. So we're balancing that, making sure that it's priced adequately compared to the other items of its type that have existed before, and that it fits within the spectrum of price points for the event so that everybody feels involved. The other thing that we've done with the events as well is made them not even just about stuff. And this is something which we want to do with the game as a whole, especially next year, is de-emphasizing just the race towards collecting more things. That's a satisfying thing for us to do as humans. It's a fun thing to progress towards. It's a great way to customize your character and create content for your friends. But ultimately, Sky is about forming connections. Sky is about icebreakers that spark genuine human connection. And so we've added in things like the social wax, which we're expanding out into even core levels of the game, and activities like new quests and elements of story, which are free to everybody and are purely just an opportunity to have fun and connect in the game, regardless of whether you even want to focus on collecting stuff. So hopefully that answers the question.
No, that's a great answer, Tim. Thanks for getting so granular on that. I do want to say from the community perspective, obviously we receive a lot of player feedback as well about, events and how those events flow, but also, what the prices are like. So we did want to take a chance and say thank you for taking the time to constantly provide that feedback. That's something that's super helpful for us to have. And, we want you to continue doing that. And we will go ahead and get into question number 2 here. So can we learn more about the lore of Sky? This is something we've seen kind of, every time we've asked players for questions, even if it's about something else, players kind of get in there and say, we want more lore. And we hear you on that one. So we did want to take a chance to answer this. Can we learn more about the lore of Sky? I really enjoyed the Nintendo Switch trailer and want to see more. Elena, do you want to take this one?
Sorry. Hi. Thanks, Robert. Yeah, sure. And thank you for your kind words. I also enjoyed a lot the Nintendo Switch trailer. And yeah, we often hear that players want to learn more about the world of Sky. We are very excited to share more in our future trailers, developer updates, and give that lore discussion channel in the Discord server more things to discuss. So definitely yes.
Hear that lore discussion? We see you. Question number 3. Is TGC planning to create an art book? So I will go ahead and take this one. We've mentioned it before in prior streams. That is something we're looking to do. We're working very hard on that. Thankfully, every day recently, I've gotten to work with the artists on how we're approaching getting that out to the people. Unfortunately, not going to be out this year. Something to look forward to. More updates in 2022. But yes, an art book is definitely happening. So question number 4. What inspired TGC to create Sky? And Elena, your last answer was not quite as long as Tim's prior answer, so we'll go ahead and toss this one back to you.
Okay, that's a great question. Sky always was our way to share our love for the games with players. But not just love for the games and create hardcore games that's only like gamers could play, but to create a mysterious world for all the people around the world to just go there, explore it, make friends, go through the emotional experience together. If you go through Eden and you experience this building a special connection when you're holding hands and you're losing your wings, things like that. And we have envisioned a world welcoming everyone. Not just veteran gamers, but players with different backgrounds and stories, from different countries and cultures. And we're extremely grateful to the players who joined us on this journey, who stayed with us through so many seasons and exciting events, and who always supported and inspired us. So Sky has been created for the players, and having you guys going together with us from all of this journey means a lot to us.
Yeah, we get so much feedback, right, from players in all parts of the world, enjoying different aspects of Sky, playing with friends. I think personally for me, one of the most rewarding things I see is players from one part of the world meeting players in another part of the world through Sky, and then kind of forming these relationships that allow them to learn about people and places and customs in other parts of the world. So I would add on too that, that's really something that this attitude of how we approach Sky has kind of netted out, and it's been really rewarding to see. Question number 5. So this is one we also get from time to time here. Will you add more realms to Sky? Tim, will we add more realms to Sky?
Well, right at the moment, good question. We consider the 7 realms of Sky to be the only realms that we're aware of, but that doesn't mean that we won't look at potentially adding some more stuff in the future. And you might have noticed as well that as we've continued to raise the bar on the seasonal and event content, that new spaces that extend those core 7 realms have started to appear. And so you can definitely expect to see more of those in the future. It's great for us to find a way to add more lore and character, to these stories and these realms, these eras of the world of Sky that we have. And so while I can't say that we'll create a whole new realm, what I can say that we're going to be very focused on over the next year is adding more content, color, character to the existing realms that we have. we actually have a lot of space in Sky. There's a lot of real estate, and there could be more things that happen in those spaces, and more things, not just that you can play once and sort of say like a spirit memory quest or something, but adding more things that are a bit more dynamic, so that aren't stay on a very fixed schedule, just to make the whole world feel like it's a little bit more alive. Something we've definitely heard from you guys is that doing exactly the same candle run every day can get a little bit monotonous, and we even have a bit of repetition in our daily quests, which hopefully you've already seen some improvements with over the last few months. But we're really going to step that up a whole nother level in the future, and add more dynamic events, more opportunities to come together and collaborate with friends. Like I said before, more icebreakers, so that hopefully the world has a blend of both those dependable quests where you're going out and benefiting the world of Sky in some way, but a little bit more unpredictable, fun surprises that happen out in the space, which make it feel more alive.
Great, yeah. Nothing to add on that one. That was perfect, Tim. Nice job. Taking a look here at question number 6. So this one is coming from, I would assume, probably our Android players. And this is a question we've received a lot, especially since 14.5. The Android issue, or the Android version of Sky, has a lot of issues. When will these be resolved? So to be completely honest, this is a complicated question, right? I think a lot of these questions we'll be answering today are ones that we can kind of give very straightforward answers to, that we're hoping will kind of satisfy. This is one of those questions that we want to touch on, but to be honest, the answer may not be as cut and dry as we would like. So in order to make sure I'm doing the maximum possible service to you all watching this, I've actually deferred to an expert on this. So I'm not going to give you kind of my approach to this. I'm actually going to read an answer given to us by our QA and design producer, Travis Shute. So if it looks like I'm reading from something, I am 100% reading from something. All right. The short answer to this question is that we have two major goals when it comes to our game, and specifically the Android version, that are at odds with each other. The first goal is to provide the best game experience for our players. Given that this question is being asked, it seems obvious that we're not necessarily meeting the bars on this one for our players. The second goal is to ensure that Sky is inclusive as possible, and that as many people who want to play Sky can play Sky. When it comes to the Android platform, we have to make hard decisions when it comes to these goals frequently. For example, what versions of the operating system do we support? Currently, we support as far back as Android 8.0, which was released almost 2 years before Sky itself launched. Continuing to support Android 8 means that we are limited in how we can fix certain issues and what pieces of technology are available to us. But if we drop Android 8 support, that means that many of the people who have found a home in the world of Sky will no longer be able to be guests in our world. Another example of an issue that exists only on Android is that the same devices can actually have different hardware profiles. Without getting too technical, and I'm glad that he said this, because he would have lost me at this point if he had gotten too technical. This is one of the causes the black screen issues that we had to release a hotfix for a few months ago. Even if two people have the same device, the way those devices are manufactured for different regions are actually different. This can make it difficult for us to narrow down and reproduce specific issues that plague Android builds, as we have to not only have the correct device, but also have to have the correct version of the correct device. And there isn't a great way to know which version of the device the consumer who reported the issue has. To be clear, we are not happy with the experience on the Android platform, but we don't necessarily have a quick solution. We will continue to iterate on fixes with the two goals outlined in mind. So again, that is a long answer, but my hope here is that, if you're someone who plays on Android, I do as well, that this is something that will at least give you context to how we approach this situation. Like I said, there isn't a cut and dry solution necessarily, but it is something we definitely recognize we want to do better on. And we encourage you all to continue giving us feedback, letting us know what devices you're on if you are having issues, so that we can kind of build a larger profile and kind of know where to go when it comes to solving these. Next question. Do you have plans to increase the number of players in a server from 8? Tim, I'm going to give you this one too.
Sure. So at the moment, we feel that we can achieve everything that we're trying to set out to do in terms of the social and emotional connection between players, within an 8-player room. But we will continue to optimize the game, and especially, it's rendering an animation pipeline, so that we have the option in the future, if it does make sense from a gameplay point of view, for us to raise the cap from 8 players. If we did want to raise the cap, it really would be to support a specific type of future content, like a bigger game mode or a specific season that really called for that wider group. But Sky is really about fewer deeper connections than it is about feeling like you're in a massive swarm of people. So it's not really a priority for us right now, but we are thinking about a variety of different ways that you can feel the presence of the wider community outside of your room. And I'll let you speculate on your own as to what that might mean.
You say swarm, Tim, and my first thought is like, I've seen those videos that some of our content creators make where it's like one person and 7 moths just honking loudly and chasing them around. And I fear for what would happen if we increase the cap to let's say 15 or 20, right? Having that many moths honking at once, chasing people around. So that may be the best reason to never ever do that.
It could get a bit chaotic, yeah.
Definitely a bit. Question number 8, do you have plans to release a PC version? Elena, I'm tagging you.
Yes, eventually, yes. We've actually been exploring different venues right now, and we're excited to bring Sky to more platforms and make game even more available to everyone. Looks like it's my topic today. So we can have a lot of cute little moths running around. So yeah, for sure, we're looking into that, and eventually we will bring Sky to PC.
More moths. The quills are hungry, Elena.
Yes, we are.
Sort of just kidding. Question number 9, why has TGC continued to use the assembly bag beyond the season of assembly? And before I turn this over to be answered, this is a question that we, when we do our community reports, we'll hear pretty much like nothing about this question for like a solid 2 months. And then there will just be this sudden uptick in people being like, why do you keep using it, right? And it'll become a major conversation point. So do want to make sure we're taking the time to address this, as this does come up fairly regularly. Tim, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, and I think it comes up when we release a new Traveling Spirit, since each of those is now coming with a new shared space item. So it's kind of a reminder when you pick up that item and you get that backpack, you're like, wait, sorry, what? This is
what season is it?
We're back into your AP10. Okay, so the reason for that is that the logo of that season, the season of assembly, was meant to reflect not just the season, but the shared spaces feature as a whole, and that functionality in the game. And so we wanted it to point to an item and actually clarify that this is a placeable object. So that was the sort of idea behind it. But it seems like that hasn't really stuck, and the players do remember that icon as the icon relating to that season. And I think that's very fair feedback, and we're definitely hearing that. We have been trying to keep up this cadence of introducing a new placeable item with every Traveling Spirit, and find other places where we can expand your inventory and your creative possibilities. But it is hard for us to keep up with creating a custom asset for the backpack for every one of those items. That's not really something we have bandwidth for. So we're looking now at somewhere in between, where we can maybe have a different design on the backpack, if it's a placeable item that wasn't from assembly, or just dropping the logo from the backpack all together. So we'd love to hear your feedback on that. We're definitely hearing your feedback, and so let us know which direction you think would make the most sense.
Yeah, for sure. And if you do take the time to leave that feedback, please be sure to do so on our official social media channels or on official community hubs. Those are places where the community team spends hours every week just going through and kind of combing for feedback. So if you put your feedback there, we will absolutely see it and pass it along to the rest of the team. Question number 10, have you all considered letting players customize their emote lists? Elena.
Wow, looks like I got all the good questions today. Thank you, Robert. To talk about the customized emote list, the development team actually has been working on the interface improvements all this time. And we have a long list of ideas, including the prototypes for the customized emote list. And just to be honest with you guys, we just haven't had time to focus right now on customized emote list, but I explain why. Because we have been working really hard on the friendship constellation optimization, which we continue iterating on, and trying out all our UI improvements for our console and mobile. If you check out our beta, you will see the latest changes we've been working on. Please provide your feedback, because it's very important for us. And hopefully one day you will see customized emote list feature on beta 2.
Yeah, the work that's going into Constellation in general. Dylan is doing a fantastic job with a lot of these things. So hoping to find a time to get Dylan out in front of people so he can talk to players. But yeah, it's, we get so many requests when it comes to Constellations. It's just at any given time, we kind of have to prioritize like, okay, which is the one we're going to focus on immediately? How much time do we have to invest in it? But please keep sending us your suggestions. We get a bunch of really great ones. And rest assured, those are all passed along to the rest of the team. Question number 11. The collaboration with The Little Prince was just amazing. Do you have any collaboration plans in the future? Tim?
We do, and we're working on something right now. We can't tell you what it is, but it's super exciting, and you can look forward to something later on next year.
Yeah, that's a great one to answer, right? Like, it's just like, yeah, and you can't know about it.
I'm sure you'll love it when you see it, though.
It's very exciting. Looking forward to sharing more on that. Question number 12. How is TGC planning to deal with hackers? Elena, since you like having the fun questions, you can have another fun question.
Yeah, I'll take this one. Hacking is another hot topic that we've been focusing on for all this time. And we do have an engineering team, a security engineering team, that's focused specifically on preventing hacks in the game. Right now, we're actively working on the comprehensive solution to mitigate hacking in Sky. We're going to roll out some measures that will evaluate the hard hacking first. And then our next target is wax farming bots. So right now, this dedicated team of security veterans are developing a real-time hack prevention solution and a platform. And we expect actually to have it online in the upcoming weeks. And yeah, we know that hacking is something that's bothering a lot of players, and we're definitely committed to putting a stop to it.
Yeah, and thank you to everyone who takes the time to submit reports, share things they see that they think are maybe not on the level. Those are huge in helping us kind of identify these behaviors and build preventative measures. So thank you for that. Question number 13, as we're kind of starting to get to the end here, I'm actually going to open this up to everyone. Obviously, we have had a lot of great events this year. There's been a lot going on in Sky, so going to open it up to everyone. What was your favorite event, or if you have two, maybe you want to share favorite events in 2021? And Tim, we're going to start with you for this one.
Sure. Well, I think the two that stand out for me, firstly, was the Days of Bloom. That was a real turning point for us with the events team, and the first time that we wanted to really create a poetic experience that reflected the transitory beauty of nature. And that was our design intent when we went out. And we felt like, the arc and the building up towards the crescendo of the petals falling and the tree being bare at the end and everything really nailed it. And we're very proud of how that felt. And then the items that were attached to the character all felt like they aesthetically fit. We created this new item, which was a ceremony with the players, as well as just being a cosmetic item. So yeah, I was very, very happy with that one. But also the Days of Mischief, the new area that we created for that. We had so much fun in the last few weeks of development, just adding more chaos, like just adding more like fun and character to that space, which is something that I really want to do with our team more in the next year, is make sure that we have time not just to finish like a first cut of something and then sort of just get it over the line, but like finish it and then play it and be like, how can we add more ways for the players to entertain one another and to really feel like they're engaged with the event? So it's not something that you just do once, sort of, and just like passively watch a little story. It's like a space that you would love to return to every day and keep finding new little things with. So I think those are the two key takeaways for me this year about the events, is firstly, having them feel like they build up over the time and have this like poetic thing to say, this emotion that they evoke, and also for the spaces to feel like the players are involved with them and they're dynamic and changing and participatory.
Elena, did you have a specific favorite event or two you maybe wanted to talk about?
Yeah, and thank you, team, for sharing your experience. For me, to be fair, but every release has something special because it affects the world of Sky in different ways, and it changes how the players interact with it, which I find very fascinating and interesting. Two big events this year which really meant a lot for me. One was the Little Prince season that made me feel all the emotional, and when Tim talked about the other emotions he had, that's the season of Little Prince for me. This is the sadness and just the real life emotions that I had playing through that season. And a more happy one was the launch of Nintendo Switch platform. Seeing all these new players joining the family, like just starting as little moves, making friends, like trying to fly around, made me really, really happy that we could bring these people into our community and welcome them.
Yeah, I feel like your answers both are more sophisticated than the one I was going to give. And now I'm a little embarrassed about mine, but I was second anniversary getting to put giant hat on Krill. That is quite possibly the best thing I've ever seen happen in video games ever. It's just the Krill rolling around with the giant hats. Really need to find more opportunities to put hats on Krill. All right.
But that was really cool, Robert.
Thank you. Final question here, question number 14. So, just want to give a quick nod to this. This is not a question from the players. We've been doing some live streams lately. The community has been running. Alice, who is silently here doing the tech job, has been asking kind of everybody who's been taking the time to be on streams with us what their favorite ice cream flavor is. So we're going to continue the tradition. No one is spared. Hopefully by 2024, we'll know what everyone's favorite ice cream is. And I don't know, document it somewhere. But with that said, Elena, what is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Oh my gosh, I was afraid what was coming. I don't really like ice cream. I'm not really into ice cream.
Tim,
sorry, guys. Sorry.
Tim, save us.
Go, Tim, go save us.
My favorite is Ben & Jerry's American Dream.
See how simple that was, Elena?
I would happily have a little tub of that next to my avatar on the website if that's the way we're going with the the ice.
Okay. If we could have pickles in my ice cream, I would go for that. Okay.
I'm sorry. Did you say pickles?
Yes.
Well, this seems like a great opportunity to wrap up this video. So
I bet there is pickle ice cream somewhere.
We need to find it, right? Now that's our new goal.
We were doing so well. If you like pickle ice cream, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to offend you. Elena also likes pickle ice cream, it sounds like, or at least pickles in ice cream. Elena, what kind of ice cream would mix with the pickles? I just have to know now.
Right. Shouldn't be dairy free, obviously, for many reasons. So let's go this way. And probably let's go salt caramel or something. I think that would go pretty well with pickles. It's going to be terrible.
My soul has left my body as I listen to this description. All right. Well, this is, I think, a good question to end on. So, before we kind of get ready to wrap this up, is there anything you two would want to kind of share with the community, as we look at wrapping up 2021? We'll go ahead and start with Tim.
Okay. Elena said before that our focus is on removing barriers and being able to invite more players into the Sky experience in the coming years. And one way we can do that is the new platforms, which, as Elena said, it's been awesome to see people come in, to do our first console. It was just great to see the game in all its glory and beauty up on a big screen. Was a huge step for us. And we're going to have some more exciting platforms come up in the future. But we would really love to hear from you guys. If your friends have tried to play the game and they've just not quite jived with it, what was it that caused them to bounce off the game? Because we're thinking very deeply about this at the moment. Elena said also earlier on that the ambition of Sky was to bring, this sort of experience which cultivates human compassion and genuine human connection to millions of people, and not necessarily just game players. And we are a little cognizant of the fact that some of the control stuff in our game and some of the gameplay concepts can be a little alienating and a bit hard to get your head around. So we're wanting to really invest some resources and some design energy in the coming year, especially as we come up towards some of these big events that we see as big opportunities to bring more players into the game. How can we make the game more accessible, more palatable to the widest range of people? So you might think, oh, well, I would love to play this game with my mum, but she can't do the controls. Or I would love to play this game with my brother, but the instructions aren't clear enough. Or my friend, or so on and so forth. We would love that sort of feedback. And yeah, thanks as always, just for how engaged you guys are as a community. We're grateful for you every day, and you're so patient with us through everything that we do. We work really hard to ship a lot of great new content for you. And sometimes that means that things don't work perfectly the first time. And we move as fast as we can to fix them and to keep the service strong for you all. But just thank you for staying with us and helping grow the whole community.
Elena?
Yeah, I just want to join Tim in his answer. Like our focus is definitely to bring more players into the game, to not only to expand the Sky world, as Tim talked earlier, but also to expand our game to the platforms that will be available for like many more players. And the goal is to connect people, to create a world where you can come and spend your time, find friends, enjoy kind of going through adventure in the world. And I want to really thank everyone, all our players, for the amazing year we had. It was really amazing to be together with you guys through all these like ups and downs, as we discussed. And I'm definitely looking forward to the next year. And another special thanks I want to give to our community team and Robert, who actually gave us this chance and opportunity to talk with you guys today. And this team has been amazing and supporting us developers through all of that time. And I hope this collaboration will continue and we'll have more opportunities to talk with you. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Elena. Compliments confuse me, so I'm just going to move right along and pretend it didn't happen. I would finally like to say, in a slightly different vein, thank you all for being just hilarious and super entertaining. I think one of the really cool perks of my job is it is just part of my job to just go out and like look at all the things you make, all the videos, all the images, all these different stories and stuff you put together. I have so much fun starting my day reading those things. We actually, in our internal Slack, we have a channel where we specifically kind of share like what's going on in the community. We share fan art, we share videos, and I laugh so much. And it's really when I think about like what makes me happiest as a human, it's getting to laugh. So thank you all for those who make just hilarious videos, who make great comics. Thank you all for really just injecting so much life and enjoyment into the community team specifically. This is really what we enjoy the most. So while we always want all of your feedback, and I am forced to say that, what I really want is more of these hilarious comics and videos. So please keep them coming in 2022. And with that, if your question wasn't answered, don't fret. We're going to start doing these more regularly. It has been a little while since we've maybe done this style of Q&A, but we definitely want to do more of these in the future. So starting in 2022, we're going to try to do one of these a month. I said try, that's the operative word. As Tim and Elena mentioned earlier, we are always working on a ton of things. So if we don't necessarily get the chance to do one in a specific month, don't worry, we haven't forgotten about you. We're going to get to you and answer hopefully more of these questions. And more than answer questions, kind of share, what we're thinking, what the feedback means to us and how we can continue to together alongside you kind of make Sky as great as it can be. So, again, as I mentioned earlier, while we do check a lot of spaces that are not our official accounts for feedback, the surest way to make sure that we see anything you're saying is to put it on our official channels. Those are definitely the ones we take a look at the most. So I think, and I'm checking Tim and Elena here, I'm scanning to make sure if anyone wants to say anything else, but I think that is going to do it for us. So thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much for submitting your questions, and we will see you in Sky.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate you all.